Hi, I'm Tim Bartz, Internet Sales Manager here at McArthur Ford, Salina, Kansas. Your source for Ford news, update, and information, including your scheduling information on a Tuesday, as we like to cover what is scheduling for different orders for this Thursday. And this week's video is for February 5th. Is that right? Hold on. Let me get my glasses on. February 5th? Yes, February 5th, 2026. And there's not a lot going on, but we're going to cover this and let you know what is scheduling, any notes that we have for different models that are scheduling in different factories that are scheduling for this week. And so make sure you're subscribed with the bell notification turned on so you don't miss any of the videos. And we'll get a dive in and cover this. Now, if this is the first time watching one of these videos, I highly recommend that you watch this next section. We do have timestamps for each of the models. And actually this week, probably only be like a couple timestamps. But I want to cover the different scheduling, the different terminologies that we use in our videos for this video, because if you're new to this, you may be questioning some of the things we're saying. So please watch this section here, because we're going to cover the terminologies on when it comes to ordering, scheduling, production, and all that here. So let's jump into it. Now, on this, what we're talking about here is when orders are scheduled. Those orders are, or I should say, when people put deal orders in, they're put in the order bank, and that is where dealer places all their stock and their retail orders. Now, a retail order, that is a customer placed order. That is, Ford knows that is going to be a sold order for that dealer for a particular customer that ordered it. Now, a stock order, that is an order that's placed by the dealer for their stock or their lot inventory, what they would have on their lots. The priority code, that's a priority that's given to orders by the dealers. So 03 through 19 is a retail order type, and 20 to 80 is a stock order type. Now, the lower the better, which is why retail orders are always looked at first, and an 03 will be looked at before a 19. Now, 19 is a default for retails, and 20 is a default for stock. Scheduling, that is when Ford schedules an order for production dates in future months. So that's kind of what we're talking about in this video. So production date, that is when Ford plans to build your vehicle. And first it'll get scheduled to the week, and as it gets closer, it'll get scheduled to the actual day. Now, allocations, that's a big one. Allocations is where Ford gives dealers allocations to schedule their orders. A dealer needs an allocation to get an order scheduled in the order bank. So a dealer earns those allocations based on their sales of each model within their region. So if a dealer doesn't have an allocation, they can't get an order scheduled. Just have an order in there is not good enough. Now, constraints, that's an option that may be in short supply or take longer to build. And that could be based on the next one, which is the capacity. That is the planned production rate of a given motor, trim, or option. So when the amount of orders is over the capacity, that's where we get that constraint, where it might take longer to get scheduled or longer to build for that reason. Now, job 1 and 2, production does get split into different job runs. If they want a particular, maybe there's a cool feature or something they want to add, and it's not ready at the beginning of the model year, they'll go ahead and start it with job 1s and then reintroduce those into job 2. Or if they get a supply issue where they can't make something, they can make those changes for the second half of the year, and that's when you'll see that job 2 changes. Balance out, that's the end of production, or what they call the balance out a particular option or model. Usually we see that balance out at the end of a certain model year before switching over to the next model year. So that's the terminologies there. Hopefully you guys got something from that, and let's dive in and talk about this. And this week's pretty easy, actually, because whenever they kind of carry over from one month to the next, there's always this break where there's not a lot of scheduling going on. There's a couple factories that will always schedule each week because it's real big about the production of their trucks. So you'll see those scheduled every week, no matter what. But a lot of the factories will schedule the first couple of weeks of each month for the entire month that's coming up. They're scheduling for. And for that reason, this week is, for a lot of the different models, is kind of it's a no schedule week. We're not scheduling because next week is the first week for scheduling for those dealers' allocations from February to go for those April production dates. And so that doesn't happen because the dealers are getting all their numbers together until next week. So next week will be the first week for that scheduling. And for that reason, a lot of the factories will not be scheduling this week. So let's talk about which ones are not scheduling. And by the way, right now, there's order banks are open for about every model. that there is. Escape is not, of course. Escape is done, but every other model and the order banks are open up. Also, I guess F-150 Lightning is not either, but so order banks are open up for almost all of them. And so let me kind of break down pretty much here. First, I want to cover all the factories that are not scheduling this week, just so if you're one of those models, and you can just go on right in the video. So the models that are not scheduled this week is the 26 model year Mustang, the 26 model year Bronco Sport, 26 model year Bronco, 26 model year Mustang Mach-E, 26 model year Explorer, 26 model year Expedition, 26 model year Maverick, 26 model year Ranger. They are not scheduling. So those are the ones that are not scheduling. So there are only 3 models that are scheduling this week, and that is the Super Duty, F-150, and Transit. So let's get into this 26 model year Super Duty, where the order banks are open up. They are scheduling this week. Kentucky is scheduling for the weeks of 3/2 through the weeks of 3/16, where Ohio is scheduling for the weeks of 3/2 to the weeks of 3/23. Limited availability for the Lariat version, the Super Cab version for XL, XLT Lariat, which is only ones that are available on. Also, limited availability for the Lariat Premium Package, the Lariat Ultimate Package, fifth wheel gooseneck hitch prep package, the 20-inch chrome wheel that is included in the chrome package for your single rear wheels. Also, the medium dark slate and Baja trims on XLT and Lariat. Also, the Tremor off-road package, the 176-inch wheelbase, and your pickup box delete. Those are all limited availability. Now, limited does not mean you don't have a chance at all. It's just going to be, it's in a smaller quantity what they plan to schedule for this week, or for those weeks that we talked about. Now, that's all we have for that. Moving on, we have the 26 model year F-150. Now, the F-150 is scheduling for Kansas City. Actually, Kansas City and Dearborn, they're going to be scheduled for the weeks of 3/2 to the weeks of 4/13. And they're going to be scheduling, looks like no issues for the most part. It does say in here, though, that limited availability for the 5.0 liter V8 engine, as well as the 3.5 liter hybrid engine. The Tremor series, both 401 and 402A, it says. Doesn't mention 402B. Also, the Tough Bed Spray and Liner, also in limited availability. The 265/70 R17 black sidewall all-terrain tire, that is standard on XL 4x4s. Heads-up display, and the electronic locker as well. Most electronic lockers. So it does have the locker. So if you look on your order, you can actually see what rear locker, electronic locker you have. And XL3, XL9, XL6, and XL4 are limited availability there. All right, that's what we have for F-150. Lastly, we do have the 26 model year Transit. They are scheduled this week for the weeks of 3/2 to the weeks of 3/23. And just like with last week, the 16-inch matte black alloy wheel, that's wheel option 64G, and the 16-inch sparkle silver alloy wheel 64K are exhausted. Now, that's worse than limited. We talked about limited earlier. Exhausted, that's really bad. The alternative wheel is the silver steel wheel 641, is that wheel option. Also, for your heavy-duty Transits, the 16-inch heavy-duty forged aluminum wheel 76G is also exhausted. The alternative wheel is a 16-inch heavy-duty silver steel wheel with the silver hubcaps and exposed lug nuts. That's standard on standard front axle and heavy duty axle configuration. Doesn't give the code on that one. So basically, they have the steel wheels available. The others are very limited in production, and so that's going to be a limited availability. So that's what I have for this week. Again, this week is not a week that really they're starting to schedule yet for the new allocations that dealers are earning. In fact, today is the deadline to get the allocations and our submissions in by dealers. They'll have everything kind of buttoned up by this Friday. And then next week is when scheduling will start for those February allocations that dealers have earned for those April production dates. So we'll get more into that next week as we get closer to that. So good luck for those F-150 Super Duty and Transit order holders that are out there. Everybody else, got to hold on for one more week if you have an order in. No scheduling for the rest of you. And until the next video, make sure you're subscribed with the bell notification turned on so you don't miss any of these videos. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Stay positive. Be kind to one another. Be kind to yourself. We'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.